that feeling that you want and desire, and it makes you happy, and you feel it in your chest, then just choose to believe that that feeling is what you seek, and then just move towards it. You don't need to see in the external environment. Do you see? But don't get caught up in the ego. The ego tries to know. The heart has no access to imagery. The heart does not see. The heart just feels. It navigates through electromagnetic waves. Because essentially, depending on what you're chasing, human beings give off electromagnetic energy. That's what we transmitted. But I digress. So, what we're doing, is we're feeling the guide of the path. Our feelings are guiding us through the path, showing us where to move and what to do. Okay? So it's very important to be able to block out what you see. So if we take an analogy of a survival situation where we have to walk through dense bushland, and let's say safety is 200 kilometers north. We have to block out all the bullshit that is happening in our external environment. The heat, the irritation, maybe there's insects, maybe they're annoying us, maybe they're harassing us, maybe we don't have much water, maybe we're hungry. We block all that out and just believe if I move in this direction, I will, reach, the safety, the goal, whatever it may be. And we have our faith that if I move at 20 kilometers a day, it will only take me 10 days to get to safety. Now, granted, in a survival situation, we wouldn't limit ourselves to moving 20 kilometers a day if it's 200 days, because then every 3 days we have to find a new water source, every 2 to 3 days. So, we would want to be moving a bit further. But that's the thing. If we believe and we hold on to our compass and we just move north, we are there. We don't know exactly how long it's going to take us. We don't know how difficult the path is going to be, but we know that general direction is safety. If we try and believe through the ego, it's sort of like if I see a sign saying a town is 200k that way, well then I'm able to believe that a town is 200k that way. If I see no other signs that I'm on the right direction, I will never feel like I'm on the right direction. Have you felt this way in life? Where in your heart you feel like you're going the right way, that you're living your life, that you're, moving and progressing through the life how you want to. But your external environment tells you everything different. And then you become confused. Because what I feel and what I see are two different things. So what do I believe? Do I believe the feeling in my chest? Or do I believe what I see with my eyes? Do you see? The ego only believes in the 5 senses. The ego only believes what it can touch and feel and taste. The ego cannot see further than my sight. But my heart is connected to everything in life. Does that make sense? So through quantum entanglement, I am able to use my heart to influence particles or to influence objects regardless of distance or time. Does that make sense? So, if we understand it in context of manifesting, I am able to draw experiences, people, and circumstances towards me that I want. Or I can draw circumstances, experiences, and people towards me that I don't want. If I focus on what I want, then I'll draw what I want towards me. If I focus on what I don't want, I draw more of what I don't want towards me. If I choose to live in my ego, all of this is irrelevant because it's not possible, because my ego only knows what my five senses can see, touch, see, touch, feel, taste, and hear. That's the thing. So when we're trying in life to push further than we can currently see, we can choose to do it with our five senses, or we can choose to do it just by believing in our heart and by holding belief. Do you see? So I can choose to walk north and just say, I see that I'm walking north, this must be the right way, and just look for anything in my external environment to validate that it is going the way I want it to go, or that I'm on the right path, or I can validate it myself internally through my heart. Does this make sense? So, one sec. So, a thing to understand is that, I get this choice. We all have this choice. I can validate external or I can validate internal. If I validate myself internally, what happens is the external ceases to be relevant, because I do not need the external to understand what is real in life. Does this make sense? When I'm validating myself internally, I can see, touch, and feel, and taste, and hear everything that happens within me. Just like you can. But it's something that we don't, or not that we don't believe in, but it's something that society tells us isn't real. That if you feel love for someone, and you feel in love with them, that you are just feeling that within yourself. That is not how it works. If you feel love for someone and you feel in love with someone, depending on the frequency that you're at, so and if we understand frequency as intention, okay, the intentions that I hold will align me to what I want. So if I love someone out of ego, of what they can give me, well, that's not, so to speak, that's not a very pure intention. So then, what I feel isn't actually aligned in reality, because it's only aligned in my ego. So that's where it gets a bit difficult, is that first, to really get into this, we have to break the ego and lose the ego of what I think I desire. And then all we have to do, and to break the ego, is just this, okay? Instead of focusing on what I think I want, so we take think out of it, and we replace think with feel. So ego is thinking. Our higher self feels. Does that make sense? So when we cease to think about what we want and we look at what we feel that we want, what feels right to us, what makes us feel good, now we are altering the energetic state of our heart to align to that, thing, to whatever we want. So if I feel like I love someone, and I feel like they love me, then I am on an energetic connection with them. Now, this isn't guaranteed, because like I said, science ain't up on this yet. So it's more about testing and measuring. But at any point in time, I may feel like I'm in love with someone, and they may have zero intention or want or need to ever be with me. So it's not guaranteed in that context. But if I feel like someone is in love with me and I feel drawn to them, then that is different. Do you see? That is how it works. So if you feel drawn to someone, like an urge to be with them, usually that is because their heart is connected to your heart and is sending a signal to you. Does that make sense? So if you put your intention onto me and connect at the same frequency that my heart resonates at, I will be drawn and urged to move towards you if your intention is correct or your intention is pure. So your intention isn't in your ego, but it's in your heart space. Have you ever noticed how what you desire and want in life, if you truly want it, it always happens to be yours? Yet whenever we want and desire things out of the ego, whenever we move towards them, they move away from us. Have you ever noticed that? So when our mind and our heart are aligned, what I see and think of and move towards is drawn towards me. When my heart and mind is not aligned, what I think I want, my heart is not on that frequency. So when I move towards it, it is repelled back. Does that make sense? And the reason for this is just that we're taking inauthentic actions to try and achieve what we want. If I tell you I want to be with you, but I don't truly want to be with you, you know, my mind, my words are telling you one thing, but my action and, you know, my energetic state will be telling you a different thing. So we just got to understand this, that if it seems like in life what you want to attain and achieve is always not so much rejecting you, but always just out of reach, potentially the way you're going about it is the wrong way, or potentially you don't actually want that thing. Because if you want it, it is yours. But you have to want it sort of purely. And purely means without, like you're not coveting it, you're not in your ego obsessed with it, but you just feel it within you. It feels a part of you. It feels like it's meant for you. When you have that feeling, that is what we call true desire. When something just feels right for you, it feels meant for you. It feels like you're destined. You know, it's your destiny, it's your destined life to live. This is your heart space telling you your true desires. When you start to feel it and it starts to electrify every aspect of you, and you start to, the thought of not moving towards it just makes you feel uncomfortable and you just need to move forward. That's true desire. Because when I truly desire something, okay, so think about it when you've been like in love, like truly in love. They can slap you in the face and you just stand there smiling. Keep moving forward. Because it's, I know what I want. Do you know what I mean? But if I'm in my ego and I go for someone and try to say I'm in love with someone, the second they put up resistance, everything falls apart. This isn't how it was meant to be. I said I was in love with them. They were meant to be with me. Do you see? So like my ego cannot handle the rejection and pain that my heart can handle. So if I want something with my heart, I can go through any and all pain to achieve it and feel grateful, feel satisfied, feel happy. If I want something with my ego, as soon as resistance comes, why did that happen? It wasn't meant to happen, because I'm wanting with expectation and I'm wanting with desire. So through my heart, I want with desire. Through my mind and my ego, I want with expectation. If I put in the work, the results will come. Whereas the desire is if I do the work, I will become. Do you see? So it's very important, because understanding this difference between the mind and the heart, between believing in what I see and believing in what I feel, okay, we're able to break the traps and the illusions of society and life in our own mind. Because the ego will always seek to trap us. Because the ego wants to feel good about itself. The ego wants to puff out its chest, to feel superior, to feel better than. So the ego doesn't want to do anything that the ego is not good at. And anything that the ego does, it wants to promote that it is the best at, that it is good at, that it is valuable. And that's a funny thing. Because in life, to achieve, you first must suck. To find love, you must be rejected by everyone that doesn't love you. To find joy and happiness, you must understand the depths of sorrow and sadness, so that you are able to see if something makes you happy or if something makes you miserable. Do you see? That it doesn't matter what happens in life to you. If you truly want something, it will be yours, because you will persevere until it is yours. But if I truly want something with my ego, and I persevere, that is just wasting time. Why is that so? Because I don't truly want with my ego. My ego is not the true me. My ego is just a representation, a facade of who I used to be. Do you see? The ego is the last mask to lift. That last mask of the hidden me. So when we're able to lift the ego and understand the difference between desiring with our mind and desiring with our heart, we are able to see the reality for what it is. We have the compass and the map to be able to find anything in life. All we have to do is move towards what we want. And the funny thing is, 90% of the time, we have no idea what we want. It's just a rough feeling, a guess, a thought. Do you see? That when I try to categorize my life to say, this is for me, this is not for me, this is how it has to be, like, who knows if that's real or not? Who knows if that's true? Who knows if I'll be happy with that? I have found a lot of the times that when I've been in my ego, trying to decide, trying to move towards what I desire through my ego, when I attain it, it holds no meaning to me. I don't care about it. I don't want it. That's the thing. Because I never truly wanted it. I just convinced myself that that's what I needed to feel superior or better. And it's a funny thing, because I wasted so much time, so much of my life, trying to achieve and attain things that held no value to me. And when I listen to my heart and my heart's desires, I find what I desire in life, what gives me fulfillment, what makes me happy. So I say to you, don't follow your head, follow your heart. Your head, your ego, your mind, your conscious and unconscious mind are a mechanism or a tool to be able to analyze our external environment, to be able to move through life. But we should never trust our ego to be in control. We should never let our ego be in the driver's seat, because our ego is not a good driver. Our ego says this is the way it has to be and drives that way. Even if it isn't where we want to be in life. Our ego will lead us to get debted into jobs that we hate, to live lives that we can't afford. So we must work miserable jobs just to afford the bare necessities in life, to afford our luxuries. Our ego will put us into relationships with people who don't appreciate us and don't love us unconditionally, because our ego wants to get something out of it. Our higher consciousness is just understanding the consciousness that is in control of my conscious and subconscious mind, that is in control of my biochemical responses, that is in control of my heart, that is in control of my mind, body and spirit. Do you see? The ego is just one aspect of the higher consciousness. But to believe that the ego is the higher consciousness is a travesty. Because the ego is trapped. For the ego is only part of the consciousness, one aspect. Do you see? If you ever feel like your life, you're living a life that isn't fulfilling, you feel like you're wasting your life, look at yourself in the mirror. Ask yourself, am I my higher consciousness or am I my ego? If you feel offended, or you feel a need to reject, a need to protect, you're in your ego. For the higher consciousness doesn't need to protect itself from itself. But the ego seems to think, or wants to think, that it is separate from everything, so that it may be above everything. That's how it works. Alright, well I hope you have a great day and I'll talk to you later. Thanks so much. Bye.